Well, we can't call ourselves a news show if we don't cover the Epstein case. Just last week, well, we thought we knew a whole lot more than what we know this week, which all of a sudden we know absolutely nothing. That's what it's boiled down to. I mean, Aaron, take us away.
We were promised the rest of the Epstein files, and we were told it's not an issue anymore. Recently, I think it was Tuesday, we had President Trump and Little Marco and Miss Blondie in the same room together, and the reporter simply asked, "What is going to happen? Where are we at? And are we still talking about Epstein? Unbelievable." I think that was the death of MAGA in that moment. I mean, Trump primarily was elected on righting wrongs, transparency, accountability, justice, all that stuff. And what happened? It's not an issue anymore. I mean, what a big disappointment. I don't think I'm saying anything new. I think the rest of the political universe is saying that, framing this as the death of MAGA. Is it that serious in your opinion?
I think that Trump's comments, when taken out of context, can always be used to try to hurt the MAGA crowd and the Trump crowd. There definitely is a lot of unanswered questions with the Epstein file, or lack thereof of a file, of a client list. I think that the American public was led to believe that there was a client list. If Pam Bondi truly did misspeak a couple months ago and that she was actually talking about the files, she did a very poor job of making that clear to the American public. She led the American public to believe that there was a client list. When it comes to the video, I think that we've been told for far too long that we didn't have a video, right? The power went out. The guards were asleep. There was no video. Now we're lacking 1 minute of a video, but that 1 minute, I don't believe, is when he committed suicide. So we still have the question of what did the video show, and did it actually show Epstein committing suicide? Because I think that the current uh, narrative is that the video leads us to believe that Epstein committed suicide. It never says that they saw him commit suicide. So there's still plenty of questions. I don't know how we can just be left sitting here in the dark. If there's more intelligence that the American public doesn't know, it needs to be released to the American public.
The part that irks me, Jason, is that they being the Trump administration, gave a redacted version of the Epstein files to DC Drano and these MAGA conservative influencers on the internet. And it was given with the promise that there's more to come, right? I mean, that this is just the first version. Wait, there's more, like a 90s infomercial, but wait, there's more. And so we were all told to just be patient and wait for this next round. And then when we're expecting the next round, we're told, no, you're not going to get anything more. It's a nothing burger. We're dropping the case. Nothing to look here. Let's move along. So my question is, did they change their mind, or did they never? And did they lie to us? And this was some sort of performance initially, where we're gonna give you the second round, but they never actually intended to. My question is, what changed? Because we were told we were going to get a second round when we wanted everything up front in the beginning. But then we sort of were like, okay, fine, you don't want to give us everything. We're just going to release what was already made public, this incredibly redacted version of what we were supposed to get. And then they come back to us and say, well, there's actually nothing ever going to be released. So just deal with it. We're moving on. You understand my question? Like, what were they intending from the beginning? So what it looks like to me, if the only thing I can infer, is that they never intended to give us anything. They lied to us initially, because initially we were expecting it all. And then they came out with, well, here's a highly redacted version. We'll give you the actual version later. And then later comes about and they tell us we're not actually going to give you anything. So I think they were lying from the beginning. I don't think they ever intended to. I think that they were pulling our chain, as they say. We were chasing a carrot that we were never intended to actually hold on to.
Or maybe they found something they don't want you to know about, or some more stuff, or something weird. I get what you're saying. I mean, heck, didn't they release all the stuff with JFK, and then like Martin Luther King stuff and a bunch of other things? They released a whole bunch of stuff, and I mean, we're in the time when they're releasing like UFO stuff and all, like everything, and then this is like forever. There's supposed to be files and videos, and then, oh, nothing to see here, guys. Don't worry about it.
Well, did you guys hear what Tucker Carlson had to say?
Mm-mm.
So bottom line is he thinks that intel services are at the very center of the story, and that U.S. and Israeli intelligence agencies are being protected. And I think it's interesting because in the White House, when Pam Bondi and Little Marco and Trump were together, that reporter asked, "Are you guys concerned that Jeffrey Epstein is a intelligence agent?" And Pam Bondi's response was, "We're going to look into that. We're going to circle back on that." You know, like, really, all this time, we still are not able to answer a really simple question: is Jeffrey Epstein or a Mossad asset? Because that's a really important question. Because if he is a Mossad asset, then that plays perfectly into the theory that this was a blackmail operation, and Jeffrey Epstein's job in life was to blackmail powerful people to do what the true masters of the world want him to do. I mean, we're investigating how the world is run. We're peeking into the power structure. This is a very important issue. And, you know, I understand Jason's argument about, you know, that press conference or that meeting was not about the Epstein case. It was about the Texas case. But I don't care what any press conference is about. This is the biggest story probably in the last 50 years. This is bigger than the JFK assassination, because this is getting to the bottom of who's really running this country. And for Trump to just dismiss it is very telling, because so much of his base thought that he was going to be the guy that was going to drain the swamp. He was going to be the guy that was going to finally do right. And we just have George W. Bush 2.0 is what it's starting to look like. And if you ask Nick Fuentes, if you ask a lot of MAGA influencers, they're not happy with President Trump right now. And I think that MAGA is, you know, reaching a critical age, a critical point in its lifespan.
I was noticing with some of it, Aaron, that like everybody's like, oh, you know, the Trumpster the trumpet got in a fight with the Elon Muskie. And I'm like, okay, I got you. And Elon Muskie saying, oh, you're on the list, da da da. But and that's why not, and why he's not releasing it. But I don't think so, because the last administration had all the stuff, and if they're doing all the stuff like Trump's bad and evil and blah blah blah, and you know, Russian collusions and stuff, and if he was on that thing, they would definitely at least release that portion of it or something, right? So I don't think that's the case. If you know, just to kind of add to it a bit there, I don't think that's the reason that he's not releasing. I'm wondering if they just found something and somebody big and powerful, I don't know, a BlackRock or something, was like, hey, why don't you just not worry about this or something?
Well, I think that's the open secret, and I think that's what everybody knows. We just want confirmation. We want justice. We want it to be done properly. Everybody knows that Larry Fink and all these corporate and media and political executives and powerful people were all on the Epstein client list.
And what's that blonde-haired lady, the legal head or the whatever, that said she had it on? She's like, oh, it's on my desk.
Pam Bondi?
Pam Bondi.
Oh, Bond. It's a blonde-haired lady. Her name's Bondi, and I can't remember that. Like,
Bondi.
it's a Blondie.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We can tell I'm in a good spot right now. I can't even remember that. I'm good. So I don't know, but she did say it like a couple times, right? I'm not misremembering it inaccurately, am I? She said, "Oh, it's on my desk," because she got asked a few different times. She's like, "Oh, I got it ready, or it's on my desk. I'm ready to look at it and start, you know, bringing some stuff out." Right?
And are you guys familiar with Don Bongino's work the last 4 years before he became an insider? He was so singularly focused on the Epstein case. He was one of the most, that was his jam. If you guys remember,
with him, all of a sudden he's a limpersty, knee bendy.
what's going on?
That dude's been outspoken as heck. Maybe they found some dirt on him.
So here's the official, just to take us away for just 1 second. Here's the official memo from the FBI. It reads, as part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts comb through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims and did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoings. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. Each suffered unique trauma. Sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. This includes specific details such as victims' names and likeness, physical descriptions, places of birth, associates, and employment history. One of the highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetrating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. To that end, while we have labored to provide the public with maximum information regarding Epstein and ensured examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it is the determination of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. After a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10, 2019. This conclusion is consistent with previous findings, including the August 19, 2019 autopsy finding of the New York City office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the November 2019 position of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York in connection with the investigation of federal correction officers responsible for guarding Epstein, and the June 2023 conclusions of the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General. The conclusion that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from the common area of the special housing unit where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. As DOJ's Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured by this footage. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell at around 10:40 p.m. on August 9, 2019, until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers in the SHU. During this review, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving the sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. The full raw and enhanced videos are available at the following link.
We need to hand over the case to Sheriff Arpaio. The FBI has no constitutional authority. They basically said, trust us. Trust us. They didn't give any convincing reason as to why the client list was not released. They cited, we're not going to release child pornography to the public. Well, that's obvious. No one's asking for you to release child pornography to the public. What we're asking for is you to do your due diligence and uncover the Epstein client list. We have flight logs that indicate Prince Charles, amongst many others, we're not going to go there, that there were significantly powerful people on the Epstein flight logs. So this statement that you just read, Jason, was we looked at this, we found nothing. Here's our straw man argument of we're not going to release child pornography to the public. Case closed. The FBI is completely compromised. They have, in my opinion, no legitimacy. I mean, first and foremost, they have no constitutional authority. The Constitution doesn't provide for a federal law enforcement agency. But secondly, you look at the Roger Stone arrest of 2019, the Michael Flynn case that took place between 17 and 20, all the FISA abuses in Trump's first administration, the Russia collusion investigation, the Hillary Clinton email investigation. All of those cases that I just mentioned show and prove that the FBI has not a single thread, not a single shred of legitimacy. This is not a serious agency.
Just agendas.
It's another political agency.
Enforcement, political enforcement for their agendas and ideologies and crap and people they want around.
They give themselves their own self-appointed legitimacy and legal authority because they control the bureaucracy in Washington.
Well, who's going to fight against them if you really think about it? What are you going to do? You're going to go against the FBI or CIAs or any of that kind of stuff? What are you going to do?
No, which is why I think the people need to reclaim their constitutional authority, which is the sheriff's department. I invoke Sheriff Arpaio because if you guys remember during the Obama years, Sheriff Arpaio's sheriff's office
Is that the guy with the
investigated.
cowboy hat?
Yeah, he investigated Obama's birth certificate because the federal government wasn't doing a good enough job. Sorry, I'm old school. I'm from the West. We the people are the sheriffs. We the people are the constitutional and moral authority of this country. I don't recognize these domestic terrorists. I don't recognize Eric Holder and his Oklahoma City bombing FBI. I don't recognize any of these people. I don't recognize Janet Reno's FBI at Waco, Texas. I don't recognize domestic terrorists that get paid by Israel. I don't recognize their authority. I don't acknowledge the statement that Jason Lupo just read about why they feel that they don't need to investigate the Epstein case anymore. I reject all of this. And I think a lot of Americans reject this as well. The emperor has no clothes.
You reading that just sound like even having to watch that stuff. 300, did you say 300 gigabytes or terabytes? Regardless, that's a lot. And then some people have to watch this and investigate. I mean, what a disgusting job to have to deal with anyways.
This is a good case for AI doing the job of
It's probably the one time, because I don't like AI, but it's probably the one time where I'd be like, look, run it through the machine, because I think I'd probably be very legitimately enraged and probably disgusted and puking in the freaking corner.
Well, my understanding was the law enforcement officers that investigated Hillary Clinton's hard drive basically had to quit their jobs and go to serious counseling for the images that they saw during that investigation. So we're dealing with
It's disgusting.
we're dealing with demons. But
Evil with flesh, huh?
yeah, I don't see this going in a good place for those who support the president. I just think that the Department of Justice really put a nail in the coffin this week with these revelations. We're just not gonna do anything. Where do we go from here? What's the fallout, Jason? Do you think it's gonna be forgotten?
I don't think that the American public will let this be forgotten. Hopefully this doesn't take as long as the JFK files took to release. But the JFK files were a clear indication of how the American public was not going to let that go. And the American public is probably not going to let this go. There's too much evidence. And the problem is that when they took Maxwell to trial, evidence was released, and evidence was released publicly. We have flight logs. And so the question truly becomes, okay, so why did all these people fly to Epstein Island? And if there's no evidence to show that they partook in illicit acts while on Epstein Island, okay, fine. But why were they there? Why were they there? Why did these people continue to fly out to Epstein Island on a regular basis?
Yeah, you're right. It's possible, because you could book a room in a damn hotel, and there could be all kinds of crazy things going all over a hotel, and you're really just there because you're going to a car show in Nevada. You know what I mean? So it is possible, but if that's the thing, then yeah, show everything out and just be like, no, I was here to look at exotic cars or to buy a freaking yacht or whatever it may or may not be. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then so be it. But it needs to all be out. That's for sure.
Yeah, there was plenty of evidence that is yet to be answered for that came out in the Maxwell trial. There's plenty of notes and indications that there was lists of clients, or at least lists of people that were known to have been affiliates of Jeffrey Epstein, and to what degree should be investigated. I mean, the idea that there's not a single other individual that partook in these illicit acts seems unreal, seems unbelievable. The fact that there's so many people connected to Jeffrey Epstein, so many people have been on this island, and not a single one of them took part in this. I don't believe it.
Well, interestingly, the Diddy case concluded this past week, and he was not charged with the major charge that would have put him away forever, which was the human trafficking. He's essentially a free man. I believe he was convicted on a much lesser charge. So what's the relationship? What's the connection? Well, a lot of people are saying Diddy was the Jeffrey Epstein of hip hop. That New York City nightclub in 1999, he made a deal with the feds that he would be, this is all theory, that he made a deal with the federal government that he would stay out of prison, because anybody looking at that case, I think after 5 minutes of looking at what happened at that nightclub in New York City in 1999, Diddy, had he been a regular guy like me or Jim, would have been making license plates for the last 30 years, 20 years. But instead, he walked out as a free man because he decided to be an informant. He decided to collect blackmail. What was he doing? Very similar to what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. He was having wild private parties with powerful people where it's been reported that minors were present. What seems to be the soup du jour of the elites? Sexually abusing minors. What have we seen in the Diddy case and in the Epstein case? Minors being sexually abused. By who? By powerful people. So is there any reason to not think that Diddy was a CIA agent, that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent, and that we are just getting a peek into how the world actually works, which is the fact that minor children are used as decoys to entrap high-level politicians. High-level politicians kidnap and rape children, and that blackmail is hanging over their heads. It's the reason why we have Don Banginos and Cash Patels, and I'm not saying that Don Bangino and Cash Patel are involved in this. I'm simply saying that they were singing one song before they got into the swamp, and they're singing an entirely different song once they get into the swamp. Don Bongino was one of the most outspoken conservative influencers on the Epstein case for years. For years. He is now in a position of power, and what does he do? Nothing to see here. Like, what happened? Was Don Bongino being insincere and lying to us all these years, and now he's showing his true colors? Or did he believe what he was saying then, and he was told something once he got into the circle of power? It's all very disturbing.
He could have got promised something or something, but I don't know. When we talk about this kind of stuff, it always makes me go like, man, no wonder, like, just like on like the base level, like the stuff that I'm a big advocate against. It's like, why is there a bunch of sex offenders, pedophiles, rapists, sex traffickers that are convicted felons near schools, parks, daycares, children, just in like the regular old neighborhoods and communities and stuff? And is this why? Because just from the top level up and stuff, it's a bunch of sickos the whole freaking time, a bunch of freak weirdos, and they go, oh, if we point at that, it's gonna come back to us. And then every time it's a high profile thing, hey, just kind of brush it off to the side because it's powerful people. And you're like, no, dude, right's right and wrong's wrong. Evil's evil. I don't care who you are. If you cured cancer and you're a pedo, I'm like, no, dude, death penalty. Forget you. You're gross. You're disgusting. Evil in the flesh. I don't care what good you did. If you're a pedo, no. Gross. I don't care. I don't care if you're the president of the United States. I don't care if you're the freaking in charge of Israel, Iran. I don't care what your thing is. I don't care if you got us to Mars. I don't care if you start world hunger. You're a pedo. You're a piece of trash, to keep it clean, and should just get the death penalty. Should be charged. And anybody that's associated, affiliated with you, anybody that's complacent and complicit to it that didn't say anything is just as much responsible and should be held accountable as well. And they all need to just be having the death penalty, be convicted and be gone and done with. I'm disgusted and irritated and very angry about this.
I'm a proponent of sledgehammers and wood chippers having multi-purpose usage.
Yes, yes.
I think that Benny Johnson did a great job in this video that led up to a show the other day, just kind of outlining all the major players. I mean, let's roll this clip.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to the DOJ Has Downs. They're at the gate, and they're off. Jumping out in the lead is underage girls and Bill Clinton close behind. It's a blue dress painting and a creepy island. And now here comes the Lolita Express. A curious prince. Andrew falls back as the FBI takes the reins. Faulty cameras falls off quickly as a fat Bill Barr moves into position. And here comes My Guards. Took a nap followed by the strongest bed sheets and the dumbest thing we've ever heard. Coming down the back stretch is Maxwell the Mossad agent moving ahead of dumb horny celebrities, but coming on the inside is leveraged politicians and a blackmail operation. It's Binders Bondi followed by 10,000 hours of footage. Awful footage. Boxes of evidence is challenging for second going into the clubhouse turn. Passing on the rail is a creepy temple that looks like Ellen DeGeneres studio backdrop, followed by cardboard in the windows, a giggling Bill Gates, and in general, you always have to be careful. Here they come, spinning out of the turn. Epstein didn't kill himself is in the lead, but here comes Cash and Bongino. No arrests and public outrage are neck and neck, and down the stretch they come. Pedos run our government is pulling away from disappearing victims by a length, but coming in strong is no videos exist, but I saw the video, and nothing is wrong. Binders Bondi is passing phase 1, and at the wire it's Epstein. Did hang himself, there is no list, and a massive scandalous cover-up.
So, Aaron, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to bet on the Lolita Express. I think that will be my horse that will bring me my gold.
I hate to say it. I do have a sense of humor, and it's a very interesting topic to bring some humor to be very honest with you. But it's a humorous way to show the corruption and the just filthiness and the leveraging and the angling and the good old boys and girls club of, we're powerful or we're in charge and we can just do whatever we want in one way or another. Even if we do get caught, it's just the lesser bit, because guess what? When you did get caught and by the time it got put to the thing, the time ran out, or you got, someone, it's a suicide again. It's a car accident again. I had another heart attack all of a sudden because someone was going to show us some stuff, whatever it is. And we've seen a lot of that throughout the decades, that's for sure. I remember lots of things like that happening, so do you.
Yeah, and people just disappearing off the face of the earth.
Todd was going to let us know today, and it's like, well, the 10 minutes before Todd got here, his car didn't stop, and he went right off the cliff. Or Todd.
This person committed suicide with 3 shots to the back of the head.
Yeah, what an angle. Or, look, a guy that's a lady that's super healthy, runs like triathlons and stuff. She's supposed to be here today, but on her way, she had a heart attack, and she was taking an Uber or a cab.
That one's real. She just got the COVID vaccine.
That's what that was for?
That was the Johnson & Johnson shot.
Right. It's all disgusting and disturbing, and nobody should be accepting of it or turn a blind eye to this as a whole, because it does seem to be something that feeds all the way down to just our communities too.
Well, there's a lot of public pressure right now. There's a lot of pressure from the influencers. I don't foresee this just being swept under the rug. I don't think that it's going to happen. Whether or not we actually get any more information is another question. But I don't think that the questions will stop anytime soon.
I think what they're going to try to do is push it's a conspiracy theory thing. But everybody needs to remember, and I say this a lot, every time you hear conspiracy theory, historically speaking, how many of those have come out to be true? And everybody overlooks the part that's the theory and goes like, just look at it. Everybody says, follow the science. Well, science has a lot of theories, and these conspiracy theories, there's a theory aspect to it. Just look at it and see. You can go yay or nay. Does the evidence conclude? Is there truth to it? Is there a part to it? Is there a where, what, and why, how, and when kind of thing to it? Who?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that are in the body of Christ are asking, like, why should we care? Like, why do we continue to pursue this? Why is this forefront and important? And I think Ephesians chapter 5, verses 11 through 13 speak to that. It says, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. For it is shameful even to speak of those things which are done by them in secret. But all things that are exposed are made manifest by the light, for whatever makes manifest is light. So I think when I read that, that's a clear mandate to the church that, number one, we're not to have any fellowship with what is so shameful to even speak about what they're doing in secret. But our job is to shine light on it, because whatever is receiving the light is made fully manifest. Manifest meaning that it's going to be brought to justice. There's going to be a conclusion to this. There's going to be a remedy. And it's only going to come when people shine a light on this. So we need to continue to keep our eyes on the ball.
Yeah, that's that birds of a feather. You're only as good as the worst person that's in your mix, your friends or family. So, and And if it is friends and family, they should be upholding the utmost morals, values, ethics, and just doing the right thing all the time. And I know I'm sick of it not happening.
Well, this has been Spiritual Insurgency. Join us every day on YouTube and Rumble. God bless.
Peace.
You want it better, be better.